with me showing.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Mm, again, live. We are live. I believe we're live, and we're just going to start. We have two other guests coming, but we're going to start. And
Nice.
so, first of all, I just want to say to everyone who is watching or who will be watching later on, welcome to the village meeting, to the Impact Africa village meeting. It's always so nice to have you guys, to learn with you, to learn, from you. And I'm hopeful that we will have another learning experience today. I have got a couple of guests today, and the bravest one is with me on the screen. And it's not just her glasses that is making her brave, but it's just that she's just ready. She just told me that her name Ixtel Mba Acha means Ixtel means weapon of war. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, it just so happened that that's what we're talking about before we went live. So my name means weapon of war. And you'd ask me what language, but by revelation, I'll tell you, because I have a very unique name, and my parents or my mom's explanation to how about she came with this name was that she was trying to name me after her mom, whose name is Christina, and she did all these different variations. Like if you think about Christmas, as you have Xmas, Christina, it's either Xtina, so that's where the X originated from in my name. And
Ah,
then instead of having Xtina, she said Extel sounded better. So if you said Extel, she was like, well, the X is a little off. Maybe I should give it the sound, like so Ixtel. So that's actually my name. Ixtel is from the name Christina. But again, I'm a spiritual woman. Women of this village, I am a spiritual woman. And so I was asking God, I know this name is unique. Everywhere I go, my name is a statement, Ixtel. And people always ask me, I have grown up with it. So I asked the Lord, can you tell me? I'm a Christian, by the way. So I said, what's the meaning of my name? And as I was reading the scripture and in the way in which God talks to me and reveals things to me, He specifically, showed me that my name, Ixtel, means weapon of war. So I am a weapon in the hand of God.
I love that. I love that. So first of all, what part of Africa do you call home?
Cameroon. I am originally
Cameroon.
from Cameroon.
That
Yeah,
is interesting because when I saw Mba is a name that could be from the southeastern part of Nigeria.
I'm aware. I am well aware. Yeah,
So I was like, I wonder, where this is from. Awesome. So have you ever been to Nigeria?
I have. Yeah. hmm
Tell me your honest to God opinion. What did you think?
Like, what? These people complaining? They got it good.
Oh my goodness, really?
hmm
I I have never had the privilege of visiting Cameroon. I hope that I do go at some point, but
Yeah.
I've heard good things. So
I mean, look, I am a half full glass kind of person. I see the problems, but I think that I highlight solutions before I would highlight the problem. And so I
mm,
know that there is always going to be better for Africa. But
yep,
Africans need to take a step sometimes and just acknowledge how far we have gotten in terms of even all the historical background, the colonization that we went through. We're trying to be like Europe and trying to be like America in 50 years after independence. They were not at this level 50 years after they had just been
you
found or
better
whatever
preach.
else is in their history. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you better preach, and that is just so powerful and just so awesome. Before I let you, before I unleash all the Africa 101 questions on you, I see Simone has joined us and I want to add her to the stream. Hey, Simone.
Lovely to be on with you all.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Simone.
Thank you. And you just missed Ixtel telling us about the origin and the meaning of her name. And, that was just wonderful. I'm sure you see it in the replay, but I'm seeing a comment here on Facebook saying, your mom has such a wonderful creative mind. That
Thank
is
you. She does. I'm telling you, like she gave me a name and gave me a brand all by herself.
You know what? She saw into the future for sure. For sure, for sure. And I'm all here for it. Simone, what part of the continent do you call home?
Oh, the continent.
Yes.
Which continent
So
are we speaking of?
before you answer that question, I want to say that the Africa Union has added a sixth region to the African continent,
Uh-huh.
and that sixth region is the African diaspora.
Interesting.
Yes. So
So
what?
I am part of the African diaspora, the newly added. You're right, the newly added one. So I am from originally from born and raised in Jamaica, and has spent half of my more years now in the United States than I have spent on the island. But I go back and forth quite a bit. I have a trip coming up in 2 months, and I am ready to get on that plane.
To Jamaica?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Why are you not taking me?
Sure, you're welcome. It's my dad's 70th birthday celebration, so join us.
Let's go. I have to tell you that my husband's number one destination on his bucket list is Jamaica. Hands down, end of story. There's no debate. He wants to go see where Robert Nesta Marley was born.
Sure, I'd be
Like,
happy to take you and give you guys a tour. Let's do
we
it.
will be honored to go. But welcome, welcome, welcome to the Africa 101 segment. This is the village meeting. And before I start unleashing the questions on you guys, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, I'm going to start with you, Ixtel. How do you impact Africa or Africans? What do you do that impacts Africa or Africans?
I wish I had insight into these questions before now, because that those are tough questions. You made it sound like we're just gonna chit chat and like in the village square. Like that's a hard question. How do I impact Africans? I think that by representing who I am is the first starting point. There is a notion, and I don't know why it exists, but we can explain it through history. You know, the fact that there is almost like the sense of we're inferior, or the sense of, whatever we're doing does not really amount to what the other or people from other regions are doing. So the way that I represent Africa is to own that I am African on apologetically, own my name, own my accent, and in every sphere of my life, my tagline is find the courage to be yourself. I think that by my own singular effort, being me is a tribute to my African heritage, that I'm proudly African, that I don't wish I was born somewhere else, that I don't wish my name was simpler than it is, that I don't wish I sounded any different than I sound. And so that is my service to my African heritage. Alongside other things that I do, nonprofits and different businesses that I run that touch on the African continent itself, that the first point that I raise is primarily what I think is my core principle as my give back to my continent.
Wow, that is powerful. Can you tell us one of the non-profits that you run? Because I know you run some very interesting organizations, but can you share one with us?
The Immigrant Mom is, one in which I run here in the US that supports mothers, and not just African mothers, but mothers who are raising children in a country that they didn't grow up in. Because again, this stemmed out of my personal story. I've been in the US for about maybe 6, 7 years before I had my daughter. And so I have no idea what it means to raise a child. I didn't even know the educational system. I didn't know a lot of things. I could tell you story on and on. And so I decided to bring together other women who are in this country, who are just going by and not really knowing. Like we do our best, but we don't know if it's our best compared to what other people experience who have been here longer than we have. So the Immigrant Mom is that organization which its mission is to equip, empower, and to motivate the mother who is raising children in a country that she herself did not grow up in.
And honestly, I couldn't even tell you, first of all, how happy I am that Simone connected us. And when I saw the immigrant mom, I was like, this is so relatable, because I see one of my friends on Facebook, Noye, and I know that even though she does not live in the US, she's raising kids in the US. And that is for people like me, people like my sister, who have grown up in Nigeria, who have spent all our formative years in Nigeria, and who are now trying to raise kids who, although look like us,
Yeah.
and particularly like us. So they have a different set of challenges. They have a different set of,
Mhm.
the privileges. They have
Right.
things that are just different, and sometimes it's almost as if we're speaking two different languages with
Right.
and our trauma that we're bringing from home, and
Mm.
all of the baggage that we're bringing from the motherland, and all of the things that they also have to cope with here. That
Right.
we, you know,
If I can just give you this little example, because there's so many, this little example. I grew up at the time where my parents wanted for us to always be home because it was safer for your kids to be home. You didn't want them running around the streets. You didn't want them, we called them quartier, like, in the neighborhood, because it wasn't safe. And here I am with my children and wanting to spend the weekend with them at home, but that's not the reality of the American kid who goes out to different functions with their parents, to the parks. They go to Disneyland or Disney World. They go to all these different things, and my kid is hearing the stories from class, and she's asking me, "Mommy, when are we going to go for holiday?" And I'm looking like, I never really thought of this because I was not raised that way. Look at
mm,
that.
yeah, and that
Yeah.
is profound. That is just profound. But I'm going to pause now and I'm going to ask Simone. Simone, how do you impact Africa or Africans?
Okay, great question. Great question. So, as I mentioned earlier, that I'm a part of the diaspora, right, from the Caribbean. I'm proud of my heritage, right? Us Jamaicans, we are not ashamed to say we're Black. We're very from growing up in school, we're taught the truth about what slavery was and why our ancestors were brought to the island, how we got independence, and how we have created a space for ourselves as Jamaicans, right? I identify first as Jamaican, as a Jamaican, and then as American, right? Because that's my culture, the way I eat, the way I dress, the way I relate to things. I come from a huge family, both mom and dad, one of 12, one of 11. So I have a huge family, right? So I think that's coming from the continent. And my mom is, how do I say? So my heritage is uh, mixed from both sides, right? So my mom is very dark skinned. My father's side of family, grandmother is from a Scotland side of family. So I have like both heritage to celebrate. But looking at me, you wouldn't necessarily assume, on first glance, okay, that I have that from my grandmother's side of family. But I celebrate both, and I'm very proud to be a part of the diaspora. Currently, I am an international affairs professional. Right, I've had quite a number of years working with the U.S. government overseas and domestically, and most recently, I've started a podcast out of sheer the word desperation comes to mind because I went through a phase during the last administration where I was just fed up, really, about the narrative, the conversations, feelings of, you know, uh, just energy from people like I didn't belong here, like, immigrants aren't welcome. And so I stepped out and I started a podcast. And we've been doing very well. We just released our 51st episode today. And so the name of the podcast is The Immigrant Experience in America. And we interview primarily, as you would in the formal economy, people who have been successful, immigrants coming from all over the world here and living in the United States. We talk about the immigrant experience. I've interviewed people, several folks from the continent. I've done Excel, done a few, someone from Ivory Coast, from Kenya, Egypt, you name it. So I've been to the continent myself. I spent some time in Sierra Leone. I've spent some time in Accra, Ghana, and support the continent and initiatives as well as much as I can, connecting people, amplifying what is taking place on the continent, and you know, t- teaching the next generation. I have a 4-year-old daughter about, our ancestors, where we come from, and hopefully one day we'll be able to go with her and continue to bring our people together despite being outside of the actual continent. So, in a
That
nutshell, I just flowed with that. Hopefully, it answered your question
it
as you're
did, it
expecting.
did, it did. And I think both of you just trying to help immigrants find their space and their place in the US is, I think, what really endeared both of you to my heart, because I'm an immigrant. I've been here 20 years, but still, every day is a new day. And you get into a new space and you're like, oh my goodness, you know, how are we navigating this? Like yesterday, I went to a meeting at GW in DC, and we were having the icebreaker, and they said people should say their names, how to pronounce it, the meaning of the name, and then also say what one unique thing about them. And this guy said he likes, I can't even remember the name of the band, but everybody else in the room understood what he was saying but me. I was like, what? Speaking English, I don't understand. But this is something that, they knew from their childhood, which I don't know. And these things can make you either feel included or excluded in certain spaces, and helping whether the first generation or subsequent generations to navigate this, I think is very important work. So thank you to both of you. Now the hard part. Today, I'm going to ask you fun questions about, I'm going to focus on three countries: Rwanda, Mali, and Swaziland. You can cheat. Feel free to cheat. Feel free. We now know that there's no such thing as cheating. So you can mute your Facebook or YouTube and see if people are writing the answers there. You can ask your dog, ask your cat, ask your friends, but you have to answer the question in 30 seconds, and I will give you options. So I'm going to start from geography.
Mm.
And the first question is for you, Ixtel. Which of these countries is regarded as the Switzerland of Africa? The options are A, Mali, B, Rwanda, C, uh, Uganda.
Ah, did you just throw that one in? Let me see. Mali, Rwanda, or Uganda, Switzerland. Let me see. All right. Uganda.
The one that I threw in is the one you are going to say is the correct one. Simone, do you want to help her?
I was actually going with options one or two first, actually. I was thinking, so I know that there's tons of development going on in Malawi. I've never visited either of the three countries. But I want to say for some reason I'm leaning towards Malawi. Not Mali? It's
No,
Mali?
no. The answer to this question
It's Rwanda.
is Rwanda.
Oh, did I hear the number? Did you say Oh,
It's
oh,
Rwanda. So
interesting. Why did I say
Rwanda.
Malawi? I heard It's Mali, Rwanda, and Uganda. Okay.
So Rwanda, because I think because of its topography, some hills and stuff like that. But you know how these people were doing back in the day. So let's go to the second question, which is Mali is bordered by which of these two countries in the West? In the West, Mali is bordered by which of these two countries in the West? And this question is for you, Simon. Is it
Mhm.
Algeria and Niger? Is it Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire? Is it Senegal and Mauritania?
You're tricking us there. You put some North Africans ones in there. So what are the tell me again. I'm sorry.
Algeria and Niger, Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal and Mauritania.
I want to say Cote d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso is what comes to. Yeah.
Is that your final answer?
I think so. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the West African side of the different countries and yeah.
Ixtel, do you want to help her?
What was your answer, Simone?
I think I said Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso.
And so you're asking for the west of Mali?
Yes.
Mali. Okay. Senegal. What are your options? Give them to me again.
Algeria and Niger,
No.
Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire,
No.
Senegal and Mauritania.
Senegal and Mauritania.
That is correct. Somebody was trying to lead you astray in the chat box. The person said Niger and Algeria. and it couldn't have been because one of them is in the north of Africa.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to have two more questions on geography, and then I will move to another segment. So, Swaziland shares a border with only two countries. One is Mozambique. What is the name of the other? Is it A, Lesotho? Is it B, South Africa? Is it C, Angola?
Huh. Swaziland.
Swaziland.
Okay, who is answering?
No, it's not your answer now.
So Swaziland is sharing a border with Mozambique and South Africa.
That is correct. That is correct. That is correct. Thank you. Okay. So let's see. Hmm. It's going to be another border question, this time about Rwanda. Which of these, Simone, you'll be eating up this questions because, you travel quite a bit. Which of these countries does not border Rwanda? Is it A, Uganda? Is it B, Tanzania? Is it C, Ethiopia?
Oh, most Ethiopia. Ethiopia is on that little tip at the top there with Eritrea and all that. It's too far
Now,
north.
now
Yeah.
she's showing off. Now, because I don't even know.
It's east, right? Isn't aren't those central, south central, or whatever you want to call it? But the other one, Ethiopia is considered east, from what I know. Or are they still considered east? Kenya is east, so it's interesting. Okay.
Okay, all right, all right. Okay, so the we're going to go to history now, and I'm going to start from you, Excel. The Mali Federation achieved independence from which country in 1960? The Mali Federation achieved independence from which rogue in 1960?
Tell me
Is it
the rogue's name.
yes, tell me which one? Is it A, Belgium? Is it B, France? Is it C, Germany?
France.
Ah, yeah. If you consider that they achieved independence, that is. So Simone
Yeah.
dash blank was the first permanent royal capital of Rwanda, a status it kept until the country became a republic in 1962. Which city was the first permanent royal capital of Rwanda, a status it kept until the country became a republic in 1962? Is it A, Kwali? Is it B, Nyanza? Is it C, Gahinga?
Mm. Hmm. Let's see what they're saying in the chat. I don't know that one.
Because there's like a 1 minute delay or a couple of seconds delay, the correct answer will probably come after you've gotten it.
Oh, I see. Right, 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 right. Okay, say that again for me, please.
Okay. Which city was the first permanent royal capital of Rwanda, a status it kept until the country became a republic in 1962?
Mm-hmm.
Was it A, Kwali, B, Nyanza, C, Gahinga?
I'm gonna just choose one. Gahinga
No.
or Kuali?
Ah, no. No. It's Nyanza, which I'm also just learning for the first time.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so
Good history lesson.
it's you and me both. So while still staying in Rwanda and touching on one of the country's painful history of genocide, in
Mm-hmm.
what year did the Rwandan genocide occur? Was it in 1964, 1984, or 1994?
That's a question for who?
For you, Ixtal.
Oh, sadly, it was a very recent date, 1994.
1994. So recent that, I can't believe that the world and the leaders that we had then, some of who are still alive now, didn't do
Watch.
anything. They just
Right.
watched the whole country burn. Like I I'm trying not to go back to the news of the time, but I'm like, what were we thinking? I wasn't an American then. And I'm like, what was happening in this country? What kind of discussions were happening?
Right.
Time a significant part of the continent was burning.
Right.
Ay, 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 ay. Can I
Right.
just say that Miriam, Pedro, Ganiya, they are on a roll in the chat box. You guys are killing it. And even though your answers are coming a little bit late for our guests to be able to get the right answers, but you're doing very well. So, Simone, let me go to you. Before Rwanda gained independence in 1962, which country controlled it? Was it A, Germany? Was it B, Belgium? Was it C, Netherlands?
Hmm. The first one was Germany, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Germany, Belgium. Third one is Netherlands.
Yes, yes.
Let me go with option C.
Option, which one?
Was it Netherlands
No, that would have broken my heart, but no.
or maybe Germany? Okay, that I was leaning towards Germany next.
No, even though I'm not really a huge fan.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yes, I know, it's the least likely culprit, the one whose chocolates we like.
Yeah. And because they actually colonized Congo as well, Congo Kinshasa, Zaire, and so they had the strip from Congo Kinshasa onto Rwanda.
Okay.
You know,
I was
that,
looking for the
that's
French
interesting.
influence, but I don't really see it in the names. And I was just like, okay, I don't see French there, but that's why I didn't go. Okay.
Did Germany colonize any African countries?
Yeah, they did, but after the First World War, they were kicked out, and that's why Germany is hardly any of the we didn't gain independence from Germany because after the First World War, they lost a lot of their territories. They
Mm,
actually colonized Cameroon up until I think it's 1914 when the First World War happened, and then France and Britain had to divide because they defeated Germany in that war. They had to divide their colonies, and up until today we have countries that are going through, like my country for example is going through a lot of internal turmoil because when Germany was kicked out, France and Belgium came and split us apart and governed one part with Nigeria and left the other part with France. So we have Cameroon, which is French and English, right? And then you have
Mhm.
two sections who are saying, we are marginalized or we have a different culture. But before France and Britain came, we were one country.
yeah. You know, the tragedy of a place like Cameroon is just the amount of division that these people left in their wake.
Right.
I was I was reading this article about a Nigerian, a very popular Nigerian artist that was going to Cameroon, and the francophone people were saying no. The anglophone people were saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, come," and I was like, somehow these people have built such walls
Mm.
between us that even though Nigerians and Cameroons are the same people, Cameroonians are the same people, we're beginning to see us as different because of somebody else's language, because of a foreign language, just
Yes.
because British, English, French from France is making us think that we're two different people, but we're the same people.
Right. And if there's something we can copy from Rwanda is after the genocide, they decided to do away with French as one of their official languages and institute their own language. And that's my dream for Africa, really. Like, we need to think about ourselves prior to colonialism. What kind of people were we? Because the colonial masters might have brought infrastructure, but they brought divide in our hearts.
Yep. And they still bring it. I think Simone and I, when we first spoke, we spoke about this, about how the African immigrant and the African from the Caribbean and the African American, three people who are sisters, somehow see themselves sometimes as enemies
Hmm.
because of one common enemy, really.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
And it's eaten so deep. Like we can never really understand the extent of the division, but it worked in their favor because for them to conquer, they had to divide. And
Yeah.
here we are, many years after, still suffering, the repercussions of that division.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sadly, it still is so goes so deep today. So which is why I'm so excited about your CEO initiative, Tope, and bringing us together and hopefully to bring some understanding and healing, right?
Yeah. 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 One of the things that we're going to do at SHIU, and I'm going to talk about that later on in the show, is we have a segment called Building Bridges. That segment is supposed to bring, in particular, these three demographics together in one room and see that we're truly not different. We're not different. There's no point sitting down there calling, some of my Nigerian siblings would call the African American people a very derogatory name, which I would not repeat here. And, the name just means it's just horrible. And the people who are using this term to describe African Americans don't even know what it means. But when you are stabbing at the shared history that you all have, it's a shame on all of us. Instead of looking and saying, when people see me, when people see you, they don't until we open our mouth before they know that, oh, this one sounds like she's from the Caribbean, this one sounds like she's from Africa. They just see a black person.
And the
So
confusing part about that is, isn't that person African American if they're naturalized to be an American citizen? They're
exactly.
African just the same. That's so confusing. But that's
It is
another story. Don't get me started.
it is it is nuts. Okay, so I'm going to whose turn is it now? I think it's Extel's turn. Yes.
Before I jump, I have a had deadline coming, so I have to go.
Yes, I know. So this is your final question. Aside from interim leaders, how many people have served as Rwanda's president since the end of the genocide in 1994? Is it one, two, or four?
One.
Or
No.
maybe.
No,
I was gonna say one, but maybe two, not four. There hasn't been up to four
two.
people.
They haven't been up to four. Two.
Yeah, it's
Two.
okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask Simone a question, and I'll let you jump off Excel, and then I will have some more conversations with Simone. But before I ask Simone the question and let you go, how can people reach out to you? If I want to be a part, if I'm an immigrant mom and I want to be a part of what you're doing, what work you're doing, how can people reach out to you?
All right, so we have a group on Facebook. It's called the Foreign Mom, the Immigrant Mom Mothering in a Foreign Country. So you can reach out and we'll add you to the group. You can like the page or on Facebook, and you can like our page on Instagram. But more importantly, there is the Immigrant Mom Show, which I have paused for a bit just because of how crazy work has gotten for me. But it's a platform where we tell the story of the immigrant mother who is raising her child. If you have a story, a business, something that you would like to pass on, because we are that village helping each other, please do ping me. Let me know you want to come on as a guest, and I'll have, us set up to go through an interview.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Excel. It's been lovely talking to you. Thank you for answering our questions, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Thank you.
This was lovely, Tope. Nice meeting you, and Simon for introducing us. This was really great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Simone, please stay with me. Okay. All righty. So, before I ask you two more questions, just two more questions. Can you? Oh, did I lose Simone? I think she's back.
Oh,
Yes, she's back.
yes. The
Yes.
internet connection or cell phone companies are need to really get it
Tell me. They need
together.
to get it together. Sometimes I think I'm in Nigeria. Yes. So, are you? Oh no, I've lost her again. Let's see. She's back. Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. Okay. So, can you tell us how we can reach you? Because, first of all, where can people listen to your podcast? I think that is just, you know, important.
Very good. So then I'll remind our listeners again. It's the Immigrant Experience in America. Upright, hosted by yours truly, Simone Johnson Smith. We are available on Google, Apple. If you have an Apple phone and you have a podcast app, just search, you'll be able to find me there. Spotify, but you can type the name in Google and it will come up and you can just add me there as well. Or if you have an Android phone and you have a podcast app there, just search and you'll be able to find it on Castbox or anywhere you listen. It's also available on Audible as well. If you
Right.
have ebooks that you listen to, you can find me there as well. We
Fantastic.
have people listening from, name it, like all over the world. I mean, Japan, Guam, Iran, Iraq, Russia, name it, all throughout the Caribbean, Latin America, across the globe. So wherever you are, we welcome you to listen. It's also a place where you can get a sense, if you are considering traveling here to the United States, what it is like living here in the United States. If you are considering coming here to study or to work, applying for work visas, lots of opportunities out there for you. So it's a place for you to hear some information about people's stories of success and challenges. Okay.
Fantastic. Excellent. 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 So I'll ask you two more questions and I'll let you go.
Sure.
Have a good day. So the first question is about food. Which of these Rwandan delicacies is made of cassava and corn? Is it A, isombe, and I'm butchering these pronunciations, B, umutsima, or C, mizuzu?
Oh, interesting. I'll go with the last one. Mizuzu? I have no idea.
I know, I know, but we learn every day is umutsima.
Okay. Okay.
It's made with cassava and corn. That's interesting because there's so many Nigerian delicacies made with cassava,
Yeah.
but I've never
Right.
really seen, yes, a combination of both. What is the
Oh.
big food in Jamaica?
Um, so most people know jerk chicken and jerk pork. Jerk is a seasoning that's very popular from a place called Boston, uh, a city, Boston, in the parish of Portland on the north east side of the island, right? And so that's very popular worldwide. But we also use curry because the island has been influenced by other people coming in, Indians, Chinese, and so there's quite a fusion of spices. So jerk, curry, cassava is also very popular, right? We have something that we pound and remove the starch and we bake the powder into something that we call bami, Bammy. That's also very popular. And then there's a fruit called ackee, and we use it with codfish. So ackee and saltfish and bami, very popular for breakfast. But there's so many others. But the jerk and is one of the most popular, I think, that's associated with the island.
Fantastic, excellent. So my final question for you is which two languages are predominantly spoken in Mali? A, English and French, B, French and Bambara, C, English and Bambara.
In Mali,
Yes,
I want to say French and Bambara.
that is correct. That is correct.
Hmm.
That is so correct. Simone, thank you so, so much for being here today. It's really lovely to chat with you, to learn about Africa with you, because when I give these questions, I'm also learning. So thank you so much. And people, listen to Simone's podcast, The Immigrant Experience in America, especially if you're joining us from outside of the US and you're planning to live here someday. It's better to know what to expect. It's less of a culture shock for you when you get here and you already know what some of the experiences are like. There are some amazing women that I've gotten to meet, and live through them vicariously by listening to your podcast. So I'm hopeful that people will listen. Thank you so much, Simone.
And thank you for the opportunity to be on with you today. And one thing that I missed the last time talking with you on your episode was the your urban farm, and I wonder if you would talk a bit about that or what you're doing there in Silver Spring.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you. Now I'm the one that is who's answering questions. But but we have a farm in Montgomery County and it's a little less than 5 acres. But what we're trying to do is to grow food the way food is supposed to be grown.
Yeah.
the way food in its real authentic form. So we practice what is called certified naturally grown produce farming. And that is hard African style farming. But it also affects the taste, it affects the quality of the food, and it also affects the health outcomes that people get by eating our food. So we're very proud of what we're trying to do, and we're also very proud to be representing a lot of immigrants in agriculture. Hopefully, there will be more people who come to America and see agriculture as a path to the American dream. So that is it.
That's awesome. I would love to. I actually traveled to the area there recently back in July, and I hope when I come on my next trip, I get to meet you. But I know you're so busy. That's why I didn't miss the opportunity to ask you the question now, because I know I may never catch up with you again.
Well, I promise I hope to host you at the farm sometime.
Very good. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I enjoyed the time with you today.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
Okay.
So,
Take care. Bye, everyone.
bye. So before I wrap things up, I want to talk about two events that are coming up very soon. The first event, as you can see in my backdrop, is CEO Houston. But do not let the word Houston be the barrier, because if you even if you're not in Houston, you can join us at CEO Houston, and we're starting ticket sales tomorrow, and those ticket sales will be the ticket sales will be on Eventbrite. If you go right now to www.theceo, and I'm going to put it on the screen, theceo.org/events, you will be able to buy tickets for CEO Houston. Like I said, it's not just going to be in Houston. It's going to be on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of that week, starting on October 17th. We're actually going to have virtual events. On Monday, we'll have the opening ceremony during lunchtime in Texas. That is from 12 noon Central Time. If you're in Nigeria, that's 6 p.m. Nigerian time. From 12 noon Texas time till 1:30, we'll have the opening ceremony, and we would have different segments in the building bridges category. On Tuesday, we're going to talk about money. And in Shio, when we talk about money, we don't talk about money from the perspective of, how do you make it? We talk about money from the perspective of people who have made mistakes and how they've recovered from those mistakes. I will not announce who the guest is yet, but I promise you, the guest on Tuesday, October 18, is somebody you're going to want to listen to. It's an African American woman, and she has made her share of money mistakes, and she has recovered, and now she's coaching and teaching people how not to make those same mistakes. So if wherever you are in the world, you can join that event on Tuesday, because Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will be virtual experiences. On Wednesday, we're going to we're going to discuss the whole woman. The whole woman segment is for the entire well-being of the woman, and we're going to be focusing on mental health. The theme of this year's event is pushing past pain. How do we push past pain? How do we push past pain? There's pain present everywhere. There are trials, there are challenges everywhere. How do we push past pain and still be able to live the kind of life that we want to live? So Monday, opening ceremony and building bridges. Tuesday, the wealthy woman. Wednesday, whole woman. All of these three events are going to be online. So if you go right now to thesheo.org/events, you will get a link to be able to buy the tickets to attend the online event. So even if you're not in Texas, you can join us on those days. Now, on Friday evening, those who make it to Houston, we're going to gather for some deep conversations on Friday night. If you are anywhere around the US and you can crawl, fly, drive, swim to Houston, be there, because we're going to have some deep conversations. We're calling this our evening for soul deep conversations and reflection. You're going to meet people, you're going to share with them, you're going to talk to them, you're going to cry with them, you're going to hug people, you're going to relate with people on a level that will be deep, and we're going to be using something that I haven't used previous CEOs. We only used this in Senegal and it was successful. It's going to be this the CEO Soul Deep questionnaire that will force you to open up in a way that you don't even expect. So that's on Friday evening. Now on Saturday, hi, hi, hi. Saturday we're going all out. We're going all out from 11 a.m. Central Time till 6 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be at the Hilton Garden Inn Sugarland in Houston, and we have amazing guests, women who you're going to bite your finger if you miss them. Now, we will not live stream. We will not allow those who are not in the room to watch, us discussing these issues live. But we will record the event, and CEO members from 2023 can catch up on previous CEOs in a members only portal. So if you buy the ticket to attend live and you do not attend and you cannot attend, you can watch the recording of CEO, but you have to plan to be there live because there's nothing as precious as being in the room. All of these details are at theceo.org/events. Before I, wrap this up, I want to say that there's a ticket category that we also have for CEO in Houston, and that ticket category is called Break for Impact. For an hour on Saturday, October 22nd, we're going to take a break for impact. If you have that ticket category, you get to tell the room about the work that you do that impacts people of the African diaspora or people in the African continent. You get to tell us about your work. You get to be on the hot seat, and you get to tell us how we can support you. So all of these details again at theceo.org/events. If you have any questions, reach out to us via our website. And so I'm going to take a few minutes to introduce you to a friend of mine who is having an event in Lagos. And I want you to hear about that event and plan to be there. Okay. Zany Crafts, are you there?
Um, yes, I am.
Fantastic. So first of all, tell us, what does Zany Crafts do? What do you do?
Okay, good day, everyone. My name is Alayole Zainab. I am the number one ladies maker in Africa, the CEO of Zany Craft. We make bespoke leather products, leather fashion products, varying from bags, shoes, belts, basically leather fashion products.
Nice. So in September there is this exhibition that is happening at the Muson Center. What is that?
That is dexterity. So basically, we are trying to change the narrative of the leather fashion industry here, and we intend doing that starting with dexterity. It has to do with exhibition of unique bespoke leather products, and also showcasing a whole lot of handmade products, Nigerian made products there. So we're going to be having a whole lot of exhibitors, us, and also some budding entrepreneurs. September 10th, live at the Motion Center. And we're going to be having a whole lot of people cutting across various categories, walks of life. Thank you.
Nice. So how can I, if I'm in Lagos, be there?
Okay, so one needs to basically register. It's a free event, and we have our link on Eventbrite, and also we have our link on Instagram, Facebook, virtually all our social media handles. Zanycraft on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Zanycraft. Registration link is on our bio there.
Okay, so Zany Crafts is one word on Instagram.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Zanycraft.
social media, and I'm going to put that up right now. So, like she said, it is free. Registration is free, and what you're basically signing up to do is to see talented people. Is to get there, and your head will just be expanding, and you will feel like, oh my goodness, are these things done here? Are these things made here? That is what Zany Crafts is trying to do with dexterity. And apart from seeing talented people and works of that show great talent, will I also see some stars?
Definitely, a whole lot of celebrities are coming around. A whole lot. We
Yeah.
actually have a whole lot of things embedded in dexterity. I'm someone that's usually under promise and over deliver. So expect
Ah,
marvelous things, basically.
on the promise of our deliver. So we that were not in Nigeria, how do we even get a sneak
Um,
into
we
this?
we plan on we plan on streaming live, so
Nice.
to carry everyone along, you
Oh,
know,
okay.
and
I'm glad
to
that.
make those
Oh, I'm very glad to hear. So again, tell us the date and tell us the location.
September 10th, Muson Center,
September
Zany
10th,
Craft.
Muson
Yes,
Center. And this is the Dexterity Show by Zany
yes.
Craft, the number one lady shoemaker in Africa. Thank you so much for coming and for telling us about it. And
Thank you so
guys,
much for
please
having
make
me.
sure you go support Zany Crafts. Go get inspired by her creative talents, by her friends, and everything that you're going to see there on September 10 at the Muson Center. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, man.
Yes. So, this is our show for today. And I hope that you've learned something about Swaziland, that you learned something about Mali, you learned something about Rwanda, and most importantly, that you learned something about Africa. Because we cannot take our place in the world if we don't know who we are. So let's continue to do this, continue to learn and continue to, show up for ourselves and show up proud for ourselves by learning about our history. I want to thank my guests that came on today, Excel and Simone. I also want to thank Zany Crafts for being here today. Thank you all so much for logging in and for learning something and for chiming in the chat box. Bisi Shobajo, Noye Gudiobi, Pedro Mariam, Ganiya, and everybody else who chimed in the chat box. Thank you so much. Khadija Bosu Adams, and let me see that I'm not forgetting anybody. Shibukan Kanor, and everyone who chimed in on social media and people who would watch this later on. I hope you learned something. Until I see you next month, please keep learning, keep growing. Thank you very much, and see you in Houston.